Today I welcome Giancarlo on the show. So thanks to have accepted my invitation.
Thanks to you.
So Giancarlo, if you should resume your path in 3 minutes, how you will do that?
Okay, so I'm from Italy, but I lived most of my adult life in London. Basically, I left when I was 21 to get a job. So I became a software engineer in London and pretty much worked there until a couple of years ago. I left during the pandemic and I worked for startups, big companies. Then at some point I decided that I wanted to be a little bit more solo, more independent. So I became an independent contractor. To be honest, in the UK, it doesn't mean much. It's more like,
same all the time.
Yeah, you're paid more, but we can fire you any time of the day. But it worked for me because I wanted to work with a lot of teams. I wanted to learn more and I wanted to earn more. So, it worked out for me very well. And at some point during the pandemic, I decided to leave. So I left London and that's when I caught the bug of building solo products or indie hacking. So I started indie hacking in 2020, basically. It's like 3 years. After 2 years, I can say that, I made it. I became, profitable. In the meantime, though, I kept consulting a little bit on the side to, keep the money coming. So, yeah. And here I am now, basically in Taiwan, with my girlfriend, because she's from here. And we're planning on keep traveling for a long time. So, yeah.
Cool.
We're in a good place now.
An interesting question will come before asking question about you. Do your girlfriend has a way to work in remote as well?
Yeah. She's an English teacher and she teaches on platforms. So she can do it online.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. She's in Taiwan and doing English classes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. That made me think about Mark Louvion, which is his girlfriend is also a teacher, but Korean teacher.
Okay. Okay. Language teaching. Yeah, it's one of the best thing you can do online. So.
Yeah, I was surprised to learn that. I didn't knew at all. Because I was very bad in language, so it was not an opportunity for me at all.
Yeah.
But that's very cool. People can do that, and some people are born already with 1, 2, or 3 languages, so it's very easy job. It's not the most rewarding, but at least it's doable.
Yeah. For us, it works perfectly because we wanted to not be bound to a specific place. We wanted to travel a little bit, especially after being stuck for 2 or 3 years during the pandemic.
Yeah. You were stuck in Taiwan?
No, I almost got stuck here because I was here when the pandemic started. But we went back to the UK when the pandemic literally started the day after they closed it down. And we spent the next 3 or 4 months at home, basically. But yeah, we were stuck in Italy for other reasons, because after she came back here, because her visa expired, I went back to Italy, and we had to find a way to, to come back together, and she couldn't come back to the UK. So I went back to Italy, and because in Europe, you can get a visa for family reasons, even without getting married. Very few people know this, but it's possible. So we went this route, and she has now a EU resident visa. So.
Okay. Oh yeah. Wow.
Italy is our base. But we don't really spend much time there.
Yes. It's just on the paper. The base on the paper.
Yeah.
Okay. Makes sense. Thanks for this tiny aparté, since I have also a girlfriend, and that's a subject for solo makers when you want to move everywhere a bit. I think that's interesting to see how you build that together, because in solo it's easy. You're like, okay, I'm software engineer, I will do freelancing, and then bam, I move. But if you have someone with you which is not, it gets harder to be able to move as you want.
Yes, I think it's extremely important to have a partner that understands what you're doing. Because at the end of the day, when I left my job, I left a very highly paid job when I was a contractor, and, talked to her and was like, it's not fulfilling. It's great. And my companies also were great, to be honest. Nothing to complain there. It wasn't fulfilling. So I was like, I gotta try this. Right.
Yeah.
It was very important to me.
And she was already doing the English classes, or she was doing something else?
At the time, no, we were in the UK, so she was working in a shop, like a beauty shop, basically. Because she was on this working visa, on a holiday visa, so she couldn't really do any professional job. It's really hard. So when she came back here, we had to find a way to keep working together online, and English teaching was one of the best ways to do that.
Yeah. Makes sense. Cool. Interesting point on your path, to come back to your path. You said you come very early at London to work as an engineer at 21. So you did finish your study already, or you didn't?
Basically, I did an internship at the university in King's College London from University of Pisa, and because they were looking for someone, they couldn't find anyone. When I went to there for the internship, I kind of, I pushed it to 100%. I was working until 8 in the evening. When you're young, you're passionate and you wanna show that, you're
good at something, so you don't want to do it more.
Exactly. So I was working a long time, but not because they asked me to. It was an internship and it was not paid. I just felt like, it was really fun and important for the future. I never expect to get a job offer, but it turned out after a couple of weeks, they were like, you're going to graduate now, right? Yes. And why don't you come back here in September to work with us? And I was like, holy 21 years old, it's, with that London salary. It wasn't the highest, of course, in university. It's still public sector, but for a 21-year-old, it was good, right? It was, being an adult good. And, Amazing. When you come back from not much, it was amazing.
You don't come from a big city in Italy?
No, I come from a very small village in the south, but I moved to Pisa for studies, and Pisa is also a very small city, so compared to London, it's smaller than one of their parks. So,
Good comparison.
Yeah.
Okay. And another question who interests me, which is a bit unrelated, it's about English. Did you were good at English when you went there?
No, I wasn't. No, my friends were all making fun of me, so horrible. But I just,
Same problem as French people as me.
Oh yeah, that's why English and Italian go along in the UK. It was I just had to learn from movies and making a ton of mistakes, but it was okay.
But you got the job anyway without speaking good English. That's the
pretty much.
I mean, internship.
Yeah,
but that's cool. That's cool because even that they do your proposal of working. Even your English at the time was not the best. So
yes.
It's a lot of hope for our fellow Italian and French who struggle with English and think they cannot have a job in
Absolutely. Yeah. Knowing English in this day and age, it's weird for native speakers because they speak it, but for people that come from other countries, it's more valuable than a degree, or, it's more valuable than knowing a programming language. It's almost everything these days if you want to work online.
Yeah. And I don't know if you have seen that on your own in Italy, but I have friends who are French and don't speak English well. So when they code, for example, they code and search their problem in French. And this is like, they have 1% of the answer of the world.
You get the worst answers and 1% of the answers that there are out there, or even less. Yeah. So, absolutely.
Yeah, that's crazy. And when I see I have learned English because I went abroad, basically, as you, I'm feeling so grateful because it's fucking valuable, and it's not a degree, it's not whatever, it's just like you speak English. I mean, for a lot of people who are native English effectively, there's no point. But for the rest of the world, it's very something. you got access to a big chunk of information.
You get access to the rest of the world pretty much, because other people are still gonna converse with you in English, and it opens you to other cultures and other things. So, if you don't speak English and you wanna advise, I would say stop learning that framework and learn English first, right?
Yeah, you're right. You're right. You know, which is fun is I had a podcast in French since 3 or 4 years now. I don't know. I made 100 episodes, and I felt like be limited by the language, because most of people I follow are English speaker in Twitter. So I was like searching people in French, and I was finding always the same people, the same thinking. And I was like, no, on Twitter, like I have this guy think like that because he's coming from this country or this part of the world. And I was feeling limited. So I shut down the podcast in French to start it in English again for this reason.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah. You said after, let's come back to your story. You were a software engineer in London. You became at one point to be well paid. But it wasn't enough. What make you felt you need to go in solo and lose basically the good salary you had?
Right. So when I stopped being a contractor, it was right before COVID, and COVID hadn't hit yet. So there was no knowledge of it. I felt like, life was a little bit boring when I was at work. I didn't have fun working, and it's weird to say because we are lucky to have somewhat, to have fun at work. I just felt like I wanted more, and I would have been happy if I could have worked on the side, but it was just too stressful. If you want to have a life, I wanted to go to the gym, go outside. I started working a little bit on the side, so mostly, around 11 in the evening. But I wasn't going anywhere. So basically there was a law in the UK where my company, it was a big bank. They told me, we either hire you or we have to, drop the contract. And we really don't want to drop the contract. I was like, there's no way I'm going to get hired as a normal employee. So I'm happy to leave. But so we left on friendly terms, but the conditions weren't good for me enough. So that made it much easier. I didn't just say goodbye one day. Let's say that there were the conditions for me to start being a Hindi hacker. But
what was just give us a bit of detail, like how much you had on saving, for example, at the time?
I'm not gonna say the right number, but it's enough to survive for many years.
For many years, okay. That was the range I was searching.
Let's say a decade, yeah.
Okay, so definitely.
I was comfortable. Definitely. I was like, I wasn't gonna go on the street the day after, and at the time, work for my services was abundant, so I felt comfortable. Yeah.
Okay, great. Yeah, that's something we really have a chance to as a software engineer. It's like it's not very hard when you get experience to be well paid, especially if you become a contractor.
Yeah.
So then you can live with a bit of saving. Wasn't my case because I was already a co-founder of a startup when I decided to be in solo, so we were not having a lot of savings. But I decided to do it the hard way anyway. Like in France we have things to help you if you quit your job and you want to build your company. Basically, you get paid 1 year. I didn't pay the money for that because I was already a contractor, so I didn't have that. Any help I could, I didn't took.
It's similar for me, because even if I was in the UK, I wasn't paying much taxes, so all the benefits were not available for me, or same in Italy. So I view it this way: the money is there but it's gonna, I don't have the traditional path where I can work 30 years, 40 years, and then retire with a pension. I just don't see that happening for me or many fellow people, to be honest, many software engineers. It's very hard for us because our careers are a bit weird. And it's a very young profession after all. So who knows? But I know for a fact that I'm not going to get a pension. So I need to find a way now where the money we have is going to be invested, or, we just need to multiply it with an exit or something like this. So, it's still a risky career. Yeah.
Yeah. You just make me think like, in fact, our whole business is based on electricity. If we have an electricity problem, we are useless.
Very much. If you don't have processors or something like that, there's a shortage. I don't know. It's still a risky career, right?
Yeah. I was thinking because some people on Twitter were sharing like they don't want to build on the top of a platform because you have the risk of being the platform. But already just building on your computer, it's already building on a platform. You have risk of that. So it's like, okay. So what was the first product you decided to start?
Right. My first product, basically, it was born out of a tech itch, which is really wrong. Don't do that at home.
Like me, all day will do that.
Yeah, I know. But, it went well at the end. So, I started building a form builder because I wanted to use a new technology, Stencil, which was exciting at the time. And basically built this very powerful form builder. I didn't have any way how to market it or sell it. Yeah. So I went on Indie Hackers and I posted it to see some views, and there was someone who posted, and it was like, I have a lot of ideas around something like this. So we connected and we decided to start something together. So that's incredible because we started it from a Indie Hackers forum. And so we connected, he had good ideas on e-commerce, which is something that was completely unknown to me. Like, I didn't know what Shopify was, or, I heard it. I didn't know what it was. So we built an e-commerce marketing platform, which at the time was just like forms for e-commerce. So like pop-ups or, newsletter sign-ups. But the different thing from all the others is that it's multi-step, so you can collect information after subscribing. Plus, it was live collected. Back in the day, you had to click submit at the end, and that's when all the answers would go through. In our case, the answers would go as soon as the user clicked. So there was never... The idea is that if you ask people to click on the next answer, you will get the discount at the end. We know for sure that 90% of people do that. In the beginning, we weren't sure. We're like, maybe, only 20-30% will do it. But it turns out people want the discount, so they will go through it.
Yeah.
But for a good year and a half, we didn't have any customers. We tried many things. In the meantime, I also got another contract because, there weren't any clients, so I might as well keep earning on the side. So I got another contract remotely. And, but then we started adding some features that resonated with people, mostly around data analytics and features, such as all the data analytics that can help you understand the quality of your audience. So let's say you have ads. Which one of my ads is the one that is driving me the better customers, the best customers?
You did that because of your own ads?
No. We were helping one of our clients with this. And that's when they turned around their whole business. So now they are 10x from back then. We helped them. They were like, tell us what to do, and we were like, okay, we'll test your store with our features so that it's a win-win. And that's when we realized that our product was really good for some companies that wanted to get more data first, segment their newsletter better thanks to the data that we were collecting. And third, we knew exactly what ads was driving the most revenue because we were able to attribute the right amount of revenue based on the subscription. And we did this through unique discounts. So if I give a unique discount and you buy with that discount, I know that it's you. So our attribution model is better than most apps out there. So yeah, I mean that this app is still running and, it's going well.
Still making revenue?
Yeah, it's making revenue. It's we have some plans to expand it. Maybe go a little bit outside of e-commerce because it's a tough market.
Do you want to share the name and then you will be on the podcast?
Yes, it's from Toro.com. It's more of a managed service than it is a SaaS, and that's because we found out that the technical skills of agencies were not good enough, and the product requires a little bit of knowledge.
Tech knowledge. Yeah, definitely. Okay. Yeah. So that was your first product. So second product, because of the first one, it's like a derivative, or you say the same?
The second product is totally different, I would say. Maker Kit. This is also...
That's the second product.
Yeah.
Okay. So how did you end up with the idea of the second product, Maker Kit?
Right. So Maker Kit is something that I've been thinking of for 5 or 6 years, and I just, built it last year. So another lesson for people is if you have an idea, just do it. Basically, I've been blogging for a long time, mostly in the Angular space, and I managed to build blogs that, they had around 5,000, 6,000 visitors every month, which, it's kind of decent. But I was like, I know how to drive this a little bit up, but I'm still not monetizing anything. So I need to find a way to monetize this. So I thought of different ways, like making a course or making a book. But I was like, maybe the best way here is to sell code. So I started doing it for Firebase and Next.js. I dropped Angular from my stock because there isn't enough audience for that. So I started learning Next.js. I knew Firebase already because it's my stock from Toro, and I started writing content even before I had the code base done. And I knew that. Yeah, and I knew that because Google sooner or later is gonna pick it up, and I waited for 9 months before it happened, but I knew it would happen. You just had to be patient enough. And I used these 9 months to build a product. Truthfully, I didn't spend the whole 9 months on it. It was more like 2-3 months. Then I lost interest. Then I restarted again. When I saw traffic pick up, and I started getting emails from people, hey, can I try this? The landing page is there, but there's no way to buy it. And so what I did was like, I just sent it to them. I was like, just give me feedback here. I don't care about money. It's not in a state where I can charge for it. And feedback started coming from 5, 10, 15 people. And at some point, sometime in August, at the end of August, I was like, you know what? I have enough feedback. I'm just going to open up sales now.
Make it pay.
Yeah. And then just a couple of days later, there was a purchase. And the feeling was amazing. I was like, maybe there's something here. And this was only last September. So wow. I'm not talking about a long time ago. Yeah.
And this one is completely in solo, right? The other one where
this is all completely solo. Yeah. And basically the first product was Next.js plus Firebase SaaS starter. It's an original idea. There's many others out there. I just had,
Yeah, you made it in a way like it was better or it was something interesting anyway.
Yes.
People start to pay.
That's my take on it, yeah.
Yeah, I truly believe like this is not, when you go to the supermarket, you have product A or product B, and the B is not like, oh, A already exists, so I will not create anything. Like, they just
That's
are a bit different. The price is different, the taste is different, the smell, whatever. You just do it differently. And if there are
absolutely.
already one product is more a good sign than the bad sign, means there are a market if is still there from long. So,
Absolutely.
So great, you made that. I don't know if you know, but I have the idea to do the same for mobile apps for capacitors because I seen that many times happening. Even with me, I start to have a template for myself and I make it better and better over time. So, and I saw people like struggling to do mobile apps. So I was like, maybe I should do a template, and that will happen at one time. I just have to finish the template as you.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, my take is don't spend too much time on it because it's never gonna be perfect. It's, feedback is, I was terrified of publishing it until I got the feedback. And the
Yeah.
people were like, wait, is this really free? Are you actually giving it to me? Cause I built a SaaS in a week. But yeah, I mean, that's when I actually got the confidence. I was like,
Yeah.
yeah, it's good. I think it's ready. And if it's not ready, I'm just gonna refund people. That's it.
Yeah, makes sense. Makes sense.
Yeah.
For me, what scare me, it's not about really how the code is ready. It's more about since I will push people to deploy an app on Google and iOS, I have to guide them a bit on this because Xcode and Android Studio plus Apple.
Yeah.
This is the message I want to document because I have everything in my head, but I have to
Yeah.
document it. Otherwise, people will be like, cool, we have the code, but then we cannot
Yes.
publish the app. We understand nothing.
Yes. Yes. I think this is where MakerKit actually, I think that's what I nailed with it because I guide people throughout all the phases of building a SaaS with my documentation. So I spend a ton of time on documentation compared to other SaaS starters, which there's some really valid ones. But when I was looking at them, I was like, this is too little documentation. People are just not gonna get stuck here.
Download and start it.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
MPMI deploy. Yeah. So I spent a lot of time documenting it. And then the tutorial is also very big. And the other thing is support. Our support, I think some people say it's a bit too much, and sometimes I think it as well, but it's a really good feeling of helping people. If you go in our Discord, we help with everything pretty much. If someone has a problem that is unrelated with the code, we still help each other out.
Do you do the support all by yourself or you have someone now?
At this time, the community is active enough where people support each other, but I do the bulk of it. Yeah.
That's cool. I like this community effect. I have the same on CapGo, and that's crazy. Sometimes I'm not answering, and a guy explain the other one how to fix the problem. I'm like,
that's amazing.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Automatic support.
Yes. There are also some community-led efforts to expand the kit. I receive pull requests and stuff, so I cannot say I'm actually alone right now, because, there's 70 active people on Discord. So, yeah, even if I step out for a few days, there's always people replying, so...
So when they pay, they got access to a private repository?
Yes.
Ah, makes sense. Because for me, most of kits just give you somewhere to download it. I didn't think about
that. I have seen that happen, but it doesn't make sense to me because then how do you get updates, right?
Yeah, you have to go back to the website and download again, but it's very, you cannot diff, you don't see the changes.
No, that's weird.
Yeah. Okay, very cool idea. I didn't think about that. What I can have for you now in my question, I think we did very cool things already. I think we can go to my main question a bit of this podcast is like, why do you think this is important, like templates as you're doing and shortcut for makers? Like,
Right. So I think the biggest problem that indie hackers have generally, the one who worked in software engineering houses or companies that pride themselves on the quality of their code, is that you need to ship good code. And that's a killer. I think that's a killer. The overthinking, the, trying to get out something that you think people are gonna be excited by, you tend to overthink everything. And that's when you're gonna abandon your project eventually. I know because I've done it countless times. How do I scale? But does it scale? And using a kit, whether that's MakerKit or another kit, can help you with that. Simply because you don't have to overthink it. It's a short...
Giancarlo did it for you.
Yeah, pretty much. And, it's a small price to pay. It's like under $50, which in software engineering hours, it's like less than 2 hours.
Yeah.
But you save weeks. For some people, months. Setting up a development environment with Firebase, if you're going to do it from scratch, it's going to take 2 days. With MakerKit,
yeah, and you just have the basics.
Yes, yes. So even if you're going to scratch the code, it's still valuable because, if your startup fails, you're going to fail in a week, 2 weeks when you see no one wants to sign up. You're not going to spend months on it. And that's fundamental, I think Daniel Vassallo said, we don't have so many 6 months in our life, if you think about it. 6 months is a long time. So you better spend it well, right? So, yeah, starting with a kit can dramatically increase the odds that you're actually going to ship your thing. As I said, there's many out there. So just pick one and try to ship it with that. I think, honestly, you should time box 6 to 2 weeks. And thanks to these kits, you can definitely do it. So
makes sense. I totally agree.
Yeah.
And I think also using a kit, it's the first step for engineer to stop thinking like the code is the most important thing they should focus on. Exactly.
I see it often. There's a lot of people in the community or the communities that are professional software engineers. They're proud of their work and their code, and I see them overthink a little bit too much. And I'm like, there's so many people coming in the Discord, and they're like, do I choose Supabase or Firebase? And that's an analysis paralysis that they get stuck for weeks on that question. And I'm like, wait, just ship something with one of them. If you're gonna have the issue where you have users and you need to scale and you want to move to the other, that's an incredibly good problem to have, because 99% of the people will not get there.
Yeah.
So you can keep
you will be happy to have
for
it.
you can keep overthinking this for a few more weeks, and that's gonna be a waste of time. Or you can ship something today, put it out there, throw some money with ads like $50, $100 in Reddit or Facebook, and see if people sign up. And that's pretty much it. If people sign up, congrats, you have something there. If people don't, congrats again, because you didn't spend months on it, right? Yeah. The only exception I make here is when you're working to learn something. In that case, I think it's a bit different. Take your time, learn. I mean, I've done it a lot of times. If I hadn't spent months hacking on stuff, I would never learned. So I want to make this
clear.
Yes.
For me, I think some people are not clear with what they want. They want to learn, but at the same time they're like, yeah, but what if I make money? But that's two different paths. So if you want to learn, double down on learning. And if you want to make money, double down on making money. But if you mix both, then you will take the all new technology you want to learn and try to make a business with that. And that is very hard.
Exactly. I see the same dilemma now with using Stripe or not using Stripe. With people, but if I use Stripe, I'm going to have to pay VAT. And I'm like, well, that assumes that you're making a lot of money with it, that you are already passing the thresholds to pay sales tax and VAT. And good luck with that, because that's success to me, you know?
Yeah. It will be a good problem to happen.
Yeah, exactly.
And also, there are something I really like to give to people, like, you don't know the problem you're going to have in future. And my girlfriend has a very good sentence for that. I let to my future self who has more knowledge handle my future problem. For example, me in Capgo, I have currently a problem. I never could think about it. I have people in China and they want to have my server in China because they have access blocked. Mm-hmm. And that's something I couldn't knew, you know, like, and now I am like, okay, I have to face this challenge. But if I have overthink that at the beginning, I was like, I will overthink other things, not related to my real problem of my users.
Exactly. It reminds a bit people that say, oh, don't go to the gym because I don't want to get too big. I'm like, don't worry, that's not going to happen in half a day, you know.
Yeah. No, it makes sense here. Just when you have the problem, treat the problem you really have, not your future problem. Future problem is for your future self. There are some exceptions for health, for example, but for business, it's okay.
Of course, like there's many exceptions, and you know, I saw some threads on Twitter that were discussing this, like how can you tell someone to just, you know, not put cookie policies on their website? It's against the law. And I'm like, come on, man, just don't overthink this. Just do it. And if
you got someone from the police to come, it's probably because you have success. Because if you are no one, they will look at you and say, this is useless to do something anyway.
Exactly.
Like that's something people have struggled a bit to understand sometimes. I got the feedback for the last project I launched, naval.ia. I use the name of Naval, but I am no one. I am no one launching something no one knows. And where people are like, yeah, but you use the name, did you ask for it? I didn't ask anything. Like, he doesn't care, he didn't check it anyway. And the project will die and nothing happened. And even if he check, he look at me probably, he's like, I was a fly, and he's so like, useless. My time is more precious than taking care of this little guy from France.
Yeah.
And the same for states. They have the same problem. There are a lot of things to manage and I have to choose. So if you look like a tiny fly doing nothing, they will be like, yeah, fly and die, and it's okay.
People are going to say, oh, but you know, it happened here. I'm like, yeah, what are the chances? So it's weird.
Like
because
lottery.
Yeah. I don't want to advocate for breaking the law or anything. But let's be entirely honest. If you're not making $1 online, no one can, you know, chase you down the street.
Yeah, and even if you made $1, no one will chase you anyway.
Yeah, but most of us are making $0. So yeah.
For me, and we have this in France now. We have a new law since 3 years saying basically you can break any law because you're trying to make a business, and if the state contact you because you're breaking law, you have to be willing to do the change they ask. If you do that for them, it's okay because you're trying to make something new. So they agree sometimes making something new, it's against some law, and that's fine. We don't talk about crime stuff and don't try to kill people and say no, but for these kind of things, and I feel this is very smart to do that because innovation is a bit outside of the box sometimes, and the state is has difficulty to make a box who everyone fits. So don't care much about that and be willing to do the change if things happen and to handle the mistake you have done. Like if you done a mistake in purpose or without knowing, just don't say, the system is bad. Just say, okay, I will fix the things, and that's it.
Yes. Analysis paralysis is the biggest indie hacking
yeah.
killer. So I think everybody who's not experienced enough has it a little bit. And my view is that us coming from software engineering houses are the ones that suffer the most from it. Because you're taught all your life to ship the best code you possibly can.
Yeah.
And so it's really difficult to shrug off. That's the truth. And if you think about it, the most successful indie hackers are probably the ones who have never had a software engineering job. So
Yes.
talking
Yes,
about,
thinking-
Peter Levels, and many others.
Yeah,
They
and,
ship. They know how to ship. They don't overthink.
yeah, Danny Postman also as well is the
That
same.
was, yeah.
And they do horrible code, but if your point is to make a business, doing beautiful code, it's unrelated.
Yes.
Or if you sell directly code to developers, maybe, but otherwise,
In that case,
99%
yes.
of the time, 99%
In my
of the
case,
time,
this is probably a bit different because I'm selling the code. And although I'm trying to sell the best code I can, the first thing I tell people in the community, just ship it.
yeah,
I know you're thinking about scaling to millions of users. Truth is, if you have a
try
thousand
to
users,
have one.
yes. Truth is, if you have 1,000, you're gonna be successful. That's
Yeah, and you're gonna have the money and the time to make it work for this.
Exactly.
It's just optimization then. And there are many businesses even just made for that. Like, if you have AWS very high cost, you can hire a company who take 20% of the, everything they make you win, basically. And that's very cool. And you do nothing, they just optimize for you. So when you have money, you will not have a problem anyway, or you will be able to pay. So, but yeah. So even for you, it's not that much the case to ship like the best code ever, because you teach people basically to ship instead of trying to do the best.
Yeah, I try to ship the best thing I can because it's the selling point of MakerKit. Good code, but simple code, ship quick. But when people overthink stuff like Scala scaling and how much they're gonna pay in file-based reads, all I say it's like, this is a problem for when you have users. And going from here to having users, it's the big obstacle to you right now.
Yeah, it's not your money burden in the future.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Think about
Definitely.
that. Yeah.
Definitely. And in plus, like, if you compare like Firebase or Supabase, the price are still very cheap. I got at one point a project who was super like consuming in Firebase, and I have paid €100 a month.
Mm-hmm.
That's nothing compared to the 5 years ago when you were renting 3 servers and it was already €100 a month.
Yeah, I mean, my bill for Firebase is around $100, but we make a lot more. And yes, I could probably optimize it, but
you have better things to do.
I have better things to do, exactly. Yeah.
Or you spend 10 hours optimizing Firebase, or 10 hours doing marketing when you're gonna get 1,000 a month more.
Exactly.
So
2080, optimize it just enough, and then go do some marketing, because that's really where, learn some stuff like media buying, learn some stuff like, making good videos that catch people's attention. These are some unrelated skills that people just aren't thinking of when they launch their products. They just, I'm gonna go on Twitter and tweet every day about it, but when you don't have any, when you don't have an audience like me, you have to find other ways. When I started MakerKit, the first thing I thought was distribution. I knew that without an audience, I couldn't just go there and put a link and get thousands of dollars like everybody says these days. I had to have a strategy in place, which, it took a long time, but now it's paying off. Because I have 15,000 monthly users, visitors, without any ad spend or anything. They just come.
All SEO.
Yes, yes.
Wow, that's awesome, man.
Yeah.
That's the dream. That's exactly what I'm trying to focus on. Like, really like making my game, SEO game better, because this is so resultful, but it takes times.
Yeah.
And you don't know how good you are until 9 months, 8 months, 10 months, and you're like, oh, you start to work.
It's gonna work. You just need to publish, you know?
Yeah.
And it's discouraging because you just don't see it. 1, 2, 3, 4 months, you just don't see it going up. It's really discouraging. But I think it's a reminder, it's gonna work. It just takes time. And if you think about it, SEO among developers, it's not great. So it's not actually really hard to rank first if you put some thought into it. It's a matter of believing in it, really. And hard work. There's hard work behind it.
Yeah, definitely hard work. But that's something also I think our fellow developers forget is like if you become a good marketer person, then you are better than most developers. So your competition is very easier. Because if you try to compete with normal marketing things, then it's very hard because you have to learn a new job. But if you are just a good marketing person developer, then, and you are in this path doing marketing for developers, for example, then you have a big edge because you have the knowledge of developers and marketing.
I think this is not only true if you are being an indie hacker, it's also true when you want to get a job. Because people don't necessarily want the smartest guy, they want the guy that is good enough and that they are comfortable working with. Because the hardest thing in software engineering, I've always found it to be people and not code. There have been situations in my career where people were hard to work with, and this damaged the product and the team and the company as a result.
Yeah.
And there were other times where maybe we weren't putting in the most hours, so we weren't the smartest around, but there was a lot of good teamwork, and that's when it was the most enjoyable place to work at, and also where we build the best product we could, really. And being a developer marketer means having good people skills.
Yeah.
There are some very good people on Twitter that you can definitely take example from. The people skills, and also, of course, technical skills. If you put them together, you're always employable. And it will help you when you're gonna go out there and you have to, market your own stuff. Again, stop learning that framework and
yes,
go back, go study people.
Study people, study marketing, other things that will help you to become a better indie person. But definitely not code. You can even build a no-code product.
Absolutely.
That's not knowing a bit of tech is enough for most of the time now. And now with ChatGPT and stuff like that, it will even become more and more true for people knowing very little in code. Yes. Yeah.
I think for juniors, I think it's gonna be a bit tougher from now on. For seniors, I don't see any problem in the next 5 years, which I know it's not a long horizon, but at this time, they cannot replace a senior. So they cannot replace code that has to be written. That's the thing.
I think we will just become more and more manager of what's happening, like architect. More than just because in engineering there are two jobs. I will say that the one you imagine the architecture of what you're gonna achieve, and then you spend your time writing about it, and the time you spend time writing, it's not really using your brain much. So this will often disappear, and to let you focus on just thinking and imagine the solution. because imagining a solution is not very good for ChatGPT. It's like not
No.
very creative, where you have to be as a human.
It will
That's,
basically
or-
regurgitate what it has learned from other code. And let's
Yeah.
not forget that there's not enough product code in GitHub, which is how it was trained. All the product code is in private repositories. So unless they're stealing that, all ChatGPT knows very well is library code and open source code. You know, software engineers are usually paid to work on product code, which is totally different. But
Makes sense.
I do
I
realize,
even didn't think about it.
I do realize that though it's for juniors, I think it's undeniable that it's gonna take some jobs. They're just gonna happen.
Yeah. For me, it would just reframe jobs to be more interesting.
Probably.
Maybe we'll have less job, but that's. I don't even know if we'll be less job, because we're very good to build, more jobs. Like, we have to maintain updates, maintain things, upgrade, whatever. So, yeah, I don't even think we're gonna have less job. Another question linked to your product. Right now, if you want to make your revenue grow on MarketKit, for example, what will be your next move? What you can do tomorrow to make your revenue get better?
I'm looking into paid ads at the moment. We Reddit.
Yeah.
I figured Reddit is where most people can be. So I'm gonna try this in the next few weeks. I have to just set up the infrastructure for attribution. Otherwise, I cannot track how much I'm making from them. And that means that with Lemon Squeezy, I might need to pass some data to the checkout and record this data somewhere. So probably I'm gonna have to set up some webhooks and stuff. I need to set that up, and then I'm gonna start with that. So a couple of weeks maybe. It's my first time buying ads, so let's see.
Okay.
But that's one of the things I'm gonna do. Secondly, I wanna sponsor some newsletters. That's probably something, even if no one ends up buying, it's still good to, spread the word so that they know it exists. And thirdly, I can build another kit with other technologies and then start writing for that so that I can push more people towards from organic keywords. Although I'm a little bit tired because I just finished the Supabase Next.js kit, so I'm probably gonna wait a little bit before I embark on another kit. I'm super happy with the revenue right now. I'm not under any growth is not the issue right now. I think it's more like I want to optimize lifestyle in the next few months, and then I will think about growing again.
I just a question came in my mind. Since I want to potentially make a kit for app, did you think to have a platform where people can put kits? If I have, because for example I didn't make the SEO job as you. So if I want to launch a kit tomorrow, I don't have that, and you have a huge power. So you could become a marketplace of kits of other makers, and you take a fee on top of that.
Yeah, I think you just spotted one of my plans.
I will be your first client then.
Yeah, no, this was, I wanted to build a marketplace, for the kits actually. Because
it's really
there's many
hard to
popping
find
up.
them.
Yeah. Developers don't really know SEO or they don't know the power of it, or they just don't want to write. Or they think that ChatGPT will write for them, which I'm afraid it can, but who knows? That's definitely something I want to build. I hope my competitors are not going to watch this. I'm joking. But
I know even they watch that, you will make it better than them.
I don't know. I think I do have an edge in terms of SEO compared to some of the others. But
Yeah.
To keep it, you have to work hard and push more content out. So
Yeah.
you can.
And for me, the idea is not like, I could have it in 5 minutes talking with you. So probably most of them have the idea, but or they don't have the time or they don't have the knowledge to do it well. So.
Yep. Yeah. But yeah, good suggestion.
Yeah, I got that from, I don't know from who, but someone said a VC told him that. He said a good sign of if when you are a VC, if you say to someone you met, to raise fund idea and he didn't think about it, it means he really not thinking about his product, because it's 5 minutes or 10 minutes you're talking with him, you never hear about anything, and you have better idea than him. He worked a year on it. So it's a very bad sign if he tell you, yeah, I know, I didn't think about that. So.
Yeah. Yeah. I do have other, ways that I can expand the business. So I'm getting more interest from agencies, and agencies are happy to pay a monthly fee for most support. So
Oh, yeah.
I'm expanding into that as well.
Yeah, making pay the support for more quick answer or specific calling will be differently.
Exactly.
Something, yeah.
Yeah.
Makes sense. Especially where if you use Next.js as an agency, there are no much way to have support. Like, it's better, I think, to go with you. We're gonna be way more willing to support agency or businesses than just an open source framework who has the revenue coming mainly for paid support or.
I think this is the biggest difference with open source stuff. There's some good stuff around, but the support, of course, is not there. And when I used to do more open source in the past, and when people opened issues and requests and stuff, I was a bit resenting them, which is kind of a weird feeling, because they were using my stuff. But it was a weird feeling because I was like, why are they requesting stuff so bit unpolitely, a bit like, pretentiously? Because I just put some code online. I wasn't planning on supporting you forever, and I'm not getting paid from this. And that's when I thought open source code is not going to be the way to build this. I'm just going to burn out. People are going to be upset. No one's going to win. And, I saw some people on Twitter write, oh, these SaaS starters, people, I'm just going to build an open source one and beat them to it. I don't think that's going to happen, because you're not going to provide the support. And the support for some people, it's what the product is,
Yeah.
I'm sure there's many SaaS starters that are out there that are super valid. But good luck when you have a problem. Instead, I'm in Discord helping you 5 days a week, sometimes 7. But I promise 5. 5 days a week, I'm there replying to you. Under $99, they're not much for that.
Yeah, that's something I got also as a feedback in CapGo, people saying that you reply all the time. And I didn't promise anything, but for me, if I have 5 minutes and I know to answer, I answer. Otherwise, I wait the time I work, but most of the time I answer at midnight, in the night or whatever.
Me too. If I have time and, if I have my phone with me, I'm just going to reply. So, if I was an open source developer, I wouldn't do that,
Yeah. Yeah, you're just losing your time, where now you bring value to people, and that's make them become advocate to your work, so you get more credit, more people paying. And
Yeah. I admire open source developers, because for me, it lasted less than 2 years. I just couldn't do it anymore. People showing up, is this fixed? I was like, I stopped working on this 5 years ago. Sorry.
Yes, bye.
Bye.
I really need that. For now I have a good answer to my few open source project unrelated to CapGo. I say, are you ready to pay something? Because right now I'm not working on it. And they're like, oh, you a bad person.
How dare you publish code online and not support it?
But now my main open source things are around CapGo, so that's my marketing edge. I'm very bad still to do SEO and marketing. So instead, I'm publishing a plugin for Capacitor, which is the technology I have built CapGo on top of it. And by doing that, I maintain them because that's bring people to use CapGo. On every plugin, I have put a link, backlink to CapGo.
Yes. I think that's just another way of doing content marketing, you know? And the good thing is that you don't have to do SEO because it's on GitHub. So GitHub's super powerful SEO is going to work for you. So that's actually a very smart way. I also did something like this. Plus NPM, yes. Yeah. I also have some free kits, but I didn't spend too much time on it. But yeah, looking back, maybe I should have done more for that.
Oh, what you can do, for example, is which is very easy. It's on your kits. You have probably component who are doing things like that picker, whatever. So you can publish them individually. And that will bring you more free marketing. People will like, oh, I like this dye picker. From where? From Market Kit. Oh, I can have the full kit.
Yes.
Yeah. So that's very good point. But as a developer, I think there are a lot of ways to become like a smart marketer. You don't need to compete like everyone else. Like, for example, if you're very good to do to optimize your GitHub project, then you have SEO, like no marketing person will compete. So you're just competing between developers who are very not so good at doing marketing. So if you do it better, then you win.
Yeah, absolutely.
Cool, man. I think we did a rundown about everything I wanted to talk. We can go up on the last question. One thing I would love to ask you, it's one question about your past self. Like, what do you wish someone had told you before you started? Maybe I know the answer already.
Yeah, I mean, I think you do. Just ship it. You know, just put yourself out there, which is really hard. I'm a bit of an introvert, so for me, it's not easy for me to do it. And I know it's probably true for most software engineers. But put yourself out there. Publish everything. Publish more content that is written at first, because it's easier to put out. So you don't have to, writing a blog post. Well? No, I don't do videos, but I wish I did. Okay. Maybe I will. But what I mean is, rather than go on Twitter and trying to build an audience, which can be uncomfortable, write blog posts. And that's a great start. Because
it's less personal, the blog post. So.
Yes, you can do it behind a pseudonym or behind your service name. You don't have,
Yeah.
I know it's hard at first, but it's easier than building an audience. Then if you also want to build an audience, that's amazing too. But yeah.
Yeah, I totally agree. Like, I did the other way around, and it's very hard, and it's even linked to a platform, so you have to understand the platform game. Like, for example, I became very good at LinkedIn. Like, I had very good audience at LinkedIn. Like, I went up to 7,000 people following me, and so more than Twitter. But then I discovered, I'm building an audience for French people, and I don't sell to French people. Main of my product are, like, there are no French people in it, so I'm like, so I have to change the platform, and now I am on Twitter, and on Twitter I don't understand the game, so I start back from zero. It's like, while in your own blog article, you will not change platform, at least. It's the same Google things that evolve a bit, but over time you're gonna understand it well.
If one asked me, would you rather have an audience or huge SEO game, I would say SEO, at least from what I'm building. I know it.
Yeah.
For other products, it might be different, but in my case, because most of my clients are not, they're not on Twitter, they're not gonna go on Twitter and say, this is let me search for a SaaS starter. They go on Google. So if you
Yes,
have
makes
both,
sense.
that's the best of, that's the best thing you can do. But if I'm happy that I have the SEO game up and running.
Yeah. And most of the time, if you like do an audience in Twitter or whatever, you will do an audience about what you're doing. So you will attract people like you. And most of the time, it's not really your client. Your
Exactly.
client
Yeah.
will be different. Like,
People who have the most success on Twitter with an audience are probably the ones who build Twitter tools, of course.
yeah.
Or, yeah, these kind of things. SaaS starters, yeah, I'm sure I'm sure I could have like more revenue if I was publishing on Twitter a bit more often. But the return on investment, I think it's better if I just focus on content and sometimes publish on Twitter. But yeah, that's just my
Yeah,
view.
makes sense. Makes sense. Okay. Now my question about your quotes. Do you have a favorite quote?
Yeah,
Other than ship it.
yeah. Oh my god, I think I think that was one. Yeah, not really. It's a bit hard. I have some
You have the
maybe
right to say ship it.
ship,
I'm kidding.
just ship, maybe some Naruto quotes like never give up or something like that, because it is true. Never give up. Yeah, I think many people just see people making $50,000 in a week by shipping something. Overnight successes are really rare, I think. I spent 10 years.
It's fake for me. It's not overnight. It's like, the person I did a lot of things in his life. And because of that, a specific combination happened. It's like connecting the dot of Steve Jobs things. But no one went out of the world and become like a rich, like that. There are a combination
Exactly.
of data.
Exactly.
Even
I
it
spent
look
10
like
years.
unrelated. Yeah.
Spent 10 years as a software engineer before I had the confidence to publish a code base, right? There's a lot of work behind everything. And
Yeah.
if I gave up a MakerKit, because at some point I was almost giving it up, yeah, I wouldn't have a business right now. So
Makes sense. Yeah. My girlfriend, she's a life coach and she has a very good sentence for that. It's, don't compare your inner world to the outer world of someone, because that's different. Like, it's like how you look like on Instagram. It's not really you. It's your external world. So you cannot compare yourself to this outer world of someone else on Twitter or whatever.
absolutely.
Because this is not their reality. You don't know how they have lived things inside.
Yeah. For us, it's absolutely more important as well, because, we see people that are super successful on Twitter. It's undeniable that, they put hard work behind it, but we don't really know what's going on. And I don't have Instagram, but I can tell how harmful it is to just look at people there and, just
But
blindly scrolling.
I have a solution for that. Instead of scrolling on Twitter, just listen my podcast and you will learn
Yes.
about makers in a
Absolutely.
world.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I devoured all the podcasts. I remember Indie Hackers, I don't know, so many others. Yeah, I don't remember the names right now, but this one I didn't know it before, so I started listening
Yeah.
it. And,
It's pretty new in
yeah.
English. Like,
okay.
the French version is 3 years old, but the English version is, since December.
Oh, okay,
So-
okay, cool.
That's why. But,
Cool.
funnily, just before you, 2 days ago, the podcast I registered was with Julien Amou. And he told me, like, he basically his project of Notion Form because he was listening the podcast and he saw things, of other entrepreneurs. So I give him more courage and more freedom to do things. So I was very like surprised that even I know that helped people like to see really that happening.
Yeah.
And he became so successful that he came to the podcast.
Nice.
So that's very nice.
Nice. Yeah, I must have been the only person who at the gym listens in the Hacker podcasts. the rock music. Yeah. I think it was a big part of also of the inspiration that was required for me to just say no to getting the job and instead try to build my own stuff. It's incredible the inspiration you can get from people who have gone through it, and it was very easy to relate to these people. You were like, okay, this is exactly what I'm feeling when they left their job to start their own thing.
One thing you made me think is when you want to become indie maker, around you there are no one. So, and one of the most powerful sentence I've ever heard is say you are the medium of the 5 person around you, the more closest person. So if in your closest person you have only employee, for example, it will be very hard for you to become different than them. So having a podcast, having a community on Twitter or whatever, on Discord, where you hang out with other people, that will help you to become who you want. And then I think for me it was very important. I did the podcast in French because there was no podcast in French at the time, and I was very bad in English. Still to listen podcast, I was comfortable to work a bit, to search online, but not talk much, and not listen podcasts. So I did the podcast in French because of that. And because of this podcast, I became more indie maker than I was before. Before I was a co-founder, and that gave me the willingness to become solo because of the podcast. So, and it was just talking with the right people. Yeah. So I really believe like your ecosystem you build around you is very deterministic to what you're going to achieve.
I was working especially in environments in banking where, people are fairly safe in their jobs. So the feeling of going solo, I don't think I would have been understood. But yeah.
Yeah, definitely not. Why you want to do that? You earn so much money.
It's so safe around here. Not the point. And then it wasn't, there was work, but I wouldn't call it the most stressful work I've ever done. So, yeah, I think right now I work much more than before, to be honest with you. But it's on my own terms.
But that's what I was thinking. It's your shoes. It's like you have decided your own cage. What is your rule of your life? And and the best part is if tomorrow you decide you don't want to work anymore as much, you can. While in bank, you have to ask. And they would say, oh, what? No.
Yeah, no. We have the platform to ship in 3 weeks. Yeah. I was actually working in a French environment. So, I was Société Générale for a few years. So,
yes.
Yeah.
And something very interesting also about you build your own kingdom and now you play your own rule. It's for me, I've discovered like I can say to my user on the Discord, "Hey guys, I'm going in vacation for 2 weeks. I have that to do," and you can share a bit about your life, and people have a kind of a relationship with you because you help them. So they're like, yeah, of course, no worry. And they didn't ask a question or tag me in anything when I was in vacation because they knew. And I was like so amazed by that. Like people were respecting because they like what I do and they are not the people think they pay me. They are buying my services. So they are very more respectful than a boss. And I was very impressed by that.
I found most people to be very respectful generally. Yeah, that's true. I didn't think of it before. Truthfully though, I was working in the UK, the working environment is really good. So it's never really happened to me that I had holiday denied or people calling me when I was on holiday. Yeah, that I understand from people working in different environments that mine was absolutely not the norm. And I understand why so many people want to go solo, to be honest. But yeah, I was rather lucky in this case. Yeah.
Cool, man.
Cool.
So next question. What will be the next person I should invite for you in this podcast?
Okay, I will choose someone from my community, I think. Stefan from the UK. He built his SaaS in like, I think, less than 2 weeks. It's an AI SaaS for coding snippets. And he's one of the most active members in the community. So yeah, he's had a lot of success. So
cool.
And now he's now going against Copilot X because they kind of shipped what he shipped. So yeah, gonna get interesting for him.
Amazing, perfect. I have noted that, and after the podcast, you will give me his link or contact.
Yeah, we'll send him his Twitter.
Perfect.
His Twitter.
Perfect. And last question is for you. Where do we send people who want to know more about what you're doing?
I have a Twitter. I tweet around once a day. So my handle is GC_PSK.
Will be on the description as well for the people who struggle.
Otherwise, you can find my blog at makerkit.dev. And if you are into Next.js, Remix, Firebase, or Supabase. So, yeah.
Perfect. Let's go. If you want to earn time and don't overthink, use the kit, man, because it will be better than anything else.
My kit or other kits. Just take it and ship it. That's it. You know?
Yeah. That's also a point I tend to do in the podcast is I try to find people who are very important for makers to see what they're doing, like you. Because I have a lot of, usually in the podcast, a lot of people are beginners. So it's good to have people like you because you will help them. And, that's a win-win. They have got inspired by your story and in plus your tool can be useful. So
yeah,
that's a good way to say thank you. So speaking about that, if you like this conversation with Giancarlo, so you can buy his tool, or you can also send him thanks on Twitter.
Yeah,
that's very nice. I like to receive that as well, and you can also tell me what I should have asked, what I can improve. That's very important to have your feedback, especially now I'm doing it in English, and I'm not the best English speaker ever, so I really need feedbacks, and I'm thankful for that. Otherwise, I tell you, see you next week for the listener, and Giancarlo, see you on Twitter. Bye bye.
Thank you. Bye.